Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating stories in aviation history, how Israel took the French Mirage fighter and transformed it into its own legendary aircraft, first the IAI Nesher and then the mighty Kfir. This story is not just about engineering, it's about innovation, survival, and determination. It's a journey that shows how a small nation under embargo managed to create a world-class fighter jet and eventually become one of the leading aerospace powers in the world. It all began in the 1960s when Israel was operating the French-made Mirage 3, a sleek, delta-wing interceptor known for its agility and performance. The Mirage proved itself in the Six-Day War of 1967, where Israeli pilots used it to dominate the skies over the Middle East. But soon after, political tensions erupted. France, under President Charles de Gaulle, decided to impose an arms embargo on Israel. This meant no more Mirage aircraft, no more spare parts, and no more support from Dassault Aviation. For Israel, whose air force depended heavily on the Mirage, this was a devastating blow. Instead of accepting defeat, Israel decided to take matters into its own hands. The Israeli Aircraft Industries, or IAI, launched a top-secret program to recreate the Mirage from the ground up. Using every bit of technical data, reverse engineering, and intelligence gathered through various means, Israeli engineers began building what would become the IAI Nesher. The name, Nesher, means eagle in Hebrew, and it perfectly symbolized the spirit of independence and strength that defined the project. The Nesher looked almost identical to the Mirage 5, a simplified ground attack version of the Mirage 3 that Israel had originally ordered but never received due to the embargo. It featured the same delta-wing design, similar airframe dimensions, and comparable flight characteristics. However, beneath the surface, Israel made several important modifications. The avionics were completely redesigned to meet the needs of Israeli pilots and combat doctrine. The cockpit was improved for better visibility and ergonomics, and locally developed weapons systems were integrated. The Nesher first took to the skies in 1969, and by 1971, it entered service with the Israeli Air Force. Just in time, because in 1973, Israel found itself in the middle of the Yom Kippur War. The Nesher played a vital role during the conflict, proving itself as a reliable and lethal platform. Israeli pilots flying the Nesher achieved dozens of aerial victories, taking down Soviet-built MiG-21s and MiG-17s with precision. The aircraft's simplicity, ruggedness, and adaptability made it ideal for the fast-paced, high-intensity air battles that defined that war. But Israel wasn't satisfied with just copying the Mirage. The engineers at IAI wanted to create something better, faster, more powerful, and more suited to Israel's strategic needs. The Mirage design, though elegant, had one major limitation: its engine. The French 809C engine didn't provide enough thrust for the kind of performance Israel wanted. So, IAI began experimenting with a new power plant, the American General Electric J79 engine, the same engine used in the F-4 Phantom II. This was a massive leap forward. The J79 was more powerful, reliable, and easier to maintain than the French engine. However, fitting it into the Mirage airframe was no simple task. The J79 required larger air intakes, new engine mounts, and significant changes to the fuselage design. Israeli engineers had to redesign the entire rear section of the aircraft to accommodate the engine's dimensions and airflow needs. The result of this daring modification was the birth of the IAI Kfir, which means lion cub in Hebrew. The Kfir represented the next evolutionary step in Israel's fighter development. It combined the aerodynamic excellence of the Mirage with the brute force of American jet power. The first Kfir prototype flew in 1973, and after extensive testing, it entered operational service in 1975. The aircraft quickly proved itself as one of the most capable fighters in the region. With a top speed exceeding Mach 2 and a higher climb rate, the Kfir could outperform many of its contemporaries. But the Kfir wasn't just about speed. It was about versatility and precision. IAI equipped the aircraft with advanced Israeli-made avionics, including radar warning receivers, electronic countermeasures, and a modern HUD head-up display. The Kfir could carry a wide variety of weapons, from air-to-air missiles like the Shafrir and later the Python series to air-to-ground munitions for deep strike missions. It could take off, engage, and return with deadly efficiency. In operational service, the Kfir became a symbol of Israel's self-reliance and innovation. It served during a period when the country was transitioning from dependence on foreign suppliers to becoming an exporter of high-tech military hardware. The aircraft participated in numerous operations, providing close air support, reconnaissance, and air superiority roles. It was robust, easy to maintain, and battle-hardened, traits that made it highly valued by Israeli pilots. The story of the Kfir also extended beyond Israel's borders. The aircraft was exported to several countries, including Colombia, Ecuador, and Sri Lanka. Even the United States leased several Kfir aircraft under the designation F-21A for use as aggressor aircraft in training programs. These planes were used to simulate enemy fighters in mock dogfights, helping U.S. Navy and Marine pilots prepare for real-world air combat scenarios. This was a remarkable achievement for Israel, to see its homegrown fighter jet being used by one of the most advanced air forces in the world. One of the reasons the Kfir remained relevant for so long was Israel's continuous effort to upgrade it. Over the years, several versions of the Kfir were developed, each more advanced than the last. The Kfir C-2 introduced canards on the nose to improve maneuverability, better avionics, and upgraded weapon systems. The Kfir C-7 went even further, with more powerful engines, improved radar, and the ability to carry heavier payloads. Later, IAI developed the Kfir Block 60, a modernized version with digital avionics, glass cockpit, and compatibility with contemporary weapons like the Python 5 and Derby missiles. These continuous upgrades kept the Kfir competitive even in the age of fourth-generation fighters. It showed how flexible and forward-thinking Israeli aerospace design had become. The same philosophy that led to the Nesher and Kfir later paved the way for even more advanced aircraft collaborations, such as the Levi project in the 1980s, and modern systems integrated into today's F-35I Adir. What makes the Nesher to Kfir evolution so incredible is the context in which it happened. Israel was under international embargo, surrounded by adversaries, and with limited industrial resources. Yet, through creativity and determination, it managed to produce an aircraft that could stand toe-to-toe with the best fighters of its era. This was not just about copying technology, it was about mastering and improving it. The engineers, test pilots, and technicians who worked on these programs laid the foundation for Israel's world-renowned aerospace industry. The Kfir became more than just an aircraft, it became a national symbol of ingenuity. It represented a leap from dependency to independence, from survival to dominance. And while it might not have the stealth or electronics of today's fifth-generation jets, the Kfir's legacy continues to influence Israeli aircraft design and doctrine to this day. Many of the lessons learned from the Kfir program, engine integration, composite materials, avionics systems, are still evident in Israel's modern defense technologies. Even decades later, upgraded Kfirs continue to fly combat missions around the world. In Colombia, Kfirs are still in active service, equipped with Israeli radar and precision-guided weapons. Their long lifespan and modern upgrades prove how ahead of its time the design truly was. Few aircraft from the 1970s can claim such endurance and versatility. The transformation from the Mirage 3 to the Nesher and then to the Kfir tells a story far bigger than just airplanes. It's a story about national resilience, about taking setbacks and turning them into breakthroughs. It's about how innovation can flourish under pressure and how necessity can spark technological revolutions. The Nesher and Kfir programs were the foundation of Israel's aerospace rise, paving the way for drones, satellites, and cutting-edge systems that continue to shape global defense today. Looking back, it's clear that Israel didn't just build an aircraft, it built a legacy. The Nesher and Kfir were proof that a small country with limited resources could achieve something extraordinary when driven by determination and strategic vision. These fighters didn't just protect Israel's skies, they redefined what was possible for its future. And that's the incredible story of how Israel took the Mirage fighter and transformed it into its own powerful creation, from the IAI Nesher to the Kfir. A tale of engineering brilliance, bold decisions, and the will to soar higher no matter the odds. If you enjoyed learning about this transformation in Israel's journey from dependence to innovation, make sure to like the video, share it, and subscribe for more deep dives into aviation and military technology stories from around the world.